afternoon. This is news around the world on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Abarigo Onirike Baron. I am BABAFEMI OBIDEYI. APC films as PDP demands review of Buhari's Supreme Court victory. Lesotho's Prime Minister seeks immunity over murder of ex-wife. Harvey Weinstein accuses welcome sexual assault conviction. In sports, Kobe Bryant's widow sues helicopter firm over death of her husband, 13-year-old daughter. Now the news in full. The People Democratic Party, PDP, has asked the Supreme Court to review its judgment which upheld the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari in the presidential election and dismissed the appeal of the PDP candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The PDP National Publicity Secretary Kola Olobondiyan, who stated this during a press conference in Abuja, also called on the Supreme Court to review its judgment on the governorship elections in 4 states. But in a swift reaction, the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC), in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary Malam Lanre Isaunilu, asked the PDP to engage in rice farming as a way out of its current joblessness, rather than attempting to ask the Supreme Court to review the 2019 general elections outcome. Onilu said the call by the PDP, asking the Supreme Court to review its rulings on the presidential election and governorship elections in Osun, Kano, Kaduna and Katsina states, has once again exposed the joke the opposition party has turned itself into in the nation's political space. And breaking news. Reports just reaching us says a federal high court has found former spokesman of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu, and his company, Destra Investments Limited, guilty of possessing and control of 400 million naira. The court ruled that Metu ought to know the money is the proceed of money laundering. Ruling on other charges preferred against him still ongoing at the time of filing this report. Oyo State House of Assembly Committee on Security and Strategy has held a public hearing on the Oyo State Security Network Agency Bill 2020, also known as the Amotekun Bill. Speaking during the hearing in Ibadan, the House Committee Chairman on Security and Strategy, Honorable Hakeem Obadara, commended the governors of all southwestern states for the initiative and concerned about the welfare of the people of the various states.
This bill seeks to share intelligence about crime, criminal activities, collaborate with similar security network agencies, assist in protecting life and property within the state, among others. I sincerely appreciate the governors of the southwest states for this initiative that shows their readiness and concerns for the well-being of citizens of their various states.
The Deputy Speaker representing Onora State constituency, Abiodun Fadeyi, who represented Oyo State House of Assembly Speaker Right Honorable Adebo Ndui, said the security of lives and property tops the priority list of the present administration, hence the Oyo State Governor's efforts to ensure the security of all. Present at the public hearing were Are Ono Kakanfo Gani Adams, represented by Mogaji Boyega Dejuwon, Commissioner of Police Shino Ulukolu, also represented by Mrs. Olu Bukola, Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Professor Oyelowo Oyewo, and Special Advisor on Security to Oyo State Government, Shegun Abolarewa. Others were Miyetti Allah, Agbekoya Group members, Hunters Association, Peace Corps of Nigeria, and members of the public. Meanwhile, reports indicate that similar public hearings were held simultaneously by houses of assembly in other southwest states. Meanwhile, some socio-cultural groups and traditional institutions have advocated their inclusion in the mainstream activities of Amotekun security outfit whenever it commences operation. They made this known while presenting different memoranda at a public hearing put together by the Oyo State House of Assembly on the Oyo State Security Network Agency Amotekun Bill 2020 held at the House of Chiefs, Secretariat, Ibadan. The Bonka of Are Ono Kakanfo, Chief Boyega Adejumo, who represented the Are Ono Kakanfo, Iba Gani Adams, and the Jagomolu of Agbekoya Farmers Association, Chief Kunle Busari, recommended that traditional institutions be involved in the governing board of Amotekun Corps, while uneducated indigents should be considered as officers. Speaking, the Olode of Ibadan land, Alhaji Kehinde Ege, said applicants seeking employment into the Amotekun Corps should be well informed of the roles expected of them when employed, thus the need to think twice. Contributing, Chairman of Oyo State Miyetti Ala Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Alhaji Yakubu Bello, while supporting the proposed security outfit, wants government to allow other tribes to be employed in the scheme. This is news around the world on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Let's now talk some pension and labor stories around the world. In order to beat the deadline for the submission of the application forms, applicants in the ongoing recruitment exercise in Oyo State trooped to designated zones to get their forms submitted. Pensioners FM, while monitoring the exercise at the State Teaching Service Commission Office Secretariat Ibadan, discovered that some applicants were reading the directive on the format for the submission of the credential. Some applicants who spoke with our correspondents commended the state government for the opportunity provided them to serve in the state, but appealed for transparency in the selection process. Report has it that officials of TESCOM were conveying completed application forms to appropriate offices for further processing of the forms. Efforts to speak with the TESCOM chairman was, however, unsuccessful as he was not available for an interview. The insurance and pensions industry is calling for a review of the rules covering financial advice, arguing that Brexit presents an opportunity to move away from European Union EU standards. The Association of British Insurers, ABI, says that EU guidelines around what constitutes advice are far too restrictive, and it has demanded a full review of the United Kingdom Watchdog's Handbook of Rules and Guidance. It said the review by the Financial Conduct Authority should reflect the post-Brexit regulatory landscape and the UK's ability to make rules for its own market. The ABI wants pensions and insurance companies to be able to give more guidance to their customers without it being classified as formal advice, which has to be given by qualified professionals. Ontario Municipal Employees Retirement System, one of Canada's largest pension funds, cut its stock holdings as the returns climbed and added to its infrastructure bets. The firm lowered its share of stock to 29% of its portfolio in 2019 from 33% the year before, according to a statement released. It also increased its exposure to infrastructure slightly, while decreasing its real estate and private equity holdings moderately. Finance chiefs and central bankers from the largest economies warned this weekend that they saw the coronavirus bringing downside risks to global growth. You're still on to news around the world on Pensioners 106.7 FM Ibadan. Now to other stories. Lesotho's Prime Minister's lawyers have told a court that he cannot be charged over the murder of his estranged wife because his position makes him immune from prosecution. Recall that Prime Minister Thomas Tabane's ex-wife, Lipolelo Tabane, was shot dead in 2017. The case has now been referred to the High Court. His current wife has already been charged with the murder. Mr. Tabane would be the first African leader to be charged with domestic murder while in office. A hotel in Tenerife, in Spain's Canary Islands, has been locked down after a visiting Italian doctor tested positive for coronavirus. Hundreds of guests at the H10 Costa Adege Palace Hotel were initially told to stay in their rooms as medical tests were carried out. The doctor is reportedly from the Lombardy region, where Italian authorities are battling an outbreak. Global cases of the virus have surpassed 80,000, the vast majority in China. 7 people have been killed in Delhi in protests against India's controversial new citizenship law, as United States President Donald Trump made his first official visit to the country. Mr. Trump's visit has been marked by the deadliest religious violence in the Indian capital in decades. Violence has erupted again in parts of northeast Delhi, which saw deadly clashes between supporters and opponents of the law on Monday night. There are fears of further clashes, while mobs in parts of northeast Delhi are throwing stones at each other. A Chinese court has sentenced Hong Kong boxer Gui Minghai to 10 years in jail for illegally providing intelligence overseas. Gui, who holds Swedish citizenship, has been in and out of Chinese detention since 2015 when he went missing during a holiday in Thailand. He is known to have previously published books on the personal lives of Chinese Communist Party members. Right groups condemned the harsh sentence and called for his release. You're still on to news around the world on Pensioners 106.7 FM. We will be back with entertainment and sports stories. And now to entertainment. Accusers of Harvey Weinstein have welcomed the guilty verdicts in the rape and sexual assault case against the former Hollywood mogul. Weinstein was convicted in New York City of third-degree rape and a first-degree criminal sexual act. He was cleared of the most serious count of predatory sexual assault that would have handed him a life sentence. Weinstein faces up to 25 years in prison over the guilty verdicts relating to two women. Justin Bieber's seventh album, Changes, has debuted at the top of the United States Billboard chart, beating the record set by Elvis Presley. The Canadian singer is now the youngest solo artist to achieve 7 #1 albums at the age of 25. Elvis was 26 when he scored his 7th chart topper with Blue Hawaii in 1961. Bieber's first album in 4 years sold 231,000 copies last week to reach #1. It also tops the United Kingdom charts. And now to sport. The widow of United States basketball legend Kobe Bryant is suing the owner of the helicopter that crashed last month, killing her husband and 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. Bryant, Gianna, and 7 others died when the helicopter they were in crashed in fog on 26th January. In a lawsuit, Vanessa Bryant says the pilot was negligent for flying in such poor weather. The suit further stated that Island Express helicopters and the pilot, Ara Zobayan, had a duty to use that degree of care that an ordinarily careful and prudent pilot would use under the same or similar circumstances. Furthermore, it alleges that Zobayan, who died in the crash, did not access weather data before taking off. The suit was filed shortly before a memorial service held in Los Angeles. To end the news around the world, here's the recap of the main stories. The People's Democratic Party has demanded the review of President Muhammadu Buhari's Supreme Court victory as the All Progressives Congress tell the main opposition party to get itself a job. Lesotho's Prime Minister, Thomas Tabane, is seeking immunity over charges the murder of ex-wife, Lipolelo Tabane. Former Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein's accusers have welcomed the rape and sexual assault conviction against him. And in sports, we brought to you that the late United States basketball legend Kobe Bryant's widow, Vanessa, has sued the helicopter firm over deaths of her husband and their 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. For any information, contact us on these mobile numbers: 0812-008-6270 or 0812-188-9462, or visit us at the New York State Pensions House at Barigo, Onirike, Ibadan. The news editor is Michael Adeyemo. On behalf of the production crew, I am BABAFEMI. OBIDEYI. Good afternoon.
radio station that will serve you better.
Best sports, entertainment, you go know we be master.
Information, education, now we get to make the era.
Enter the place, we set the pace, so you come following the race and say,
I better go on the Ricky 106.